you're a human. And with that, there's such good energy in the room. Look, I mean, well, hello everybody. We are live now. I'm so happy to see everybody. I hope you're doing well. Happy full moon in Capricorn. We were just talking about you, Capricorns, for goodness sake. You know, if you were with me for astrology, and by the way, there's a year of astrology classes for free on YouTube, and I think I did a fairly good job. I really tried. Thank you, I appreciate it. Astrology is one of my passions, so and I did it for free because I wanted everybody to have it. Like if you're curious, and it's an hour for each sign, so you don't have to watch all of them. I mean, if you're a Taurus, just go watch Taurus. You'll get a kick out of it. I tried to engage my best sense of humor. Lisa says, "Hi, Athena, your people are all here." I'm so grateful. We talked last month about how my mom said, "Oh, you know, your people must be very excited for tonight." I was like, "Yeah, my people are excited all the time." So you throw them a solstice and a full moon on the same night, they're going to freak out. Okay. Capricorn is a very tough sign. Okay, but here's what's interesting about this, though, and this was not planned in advance. So the whole process of discerning which goddesses, and in this case tonight we're working with a god energy as well. For the first time we're working with both Odin and Frigg. You can't divorce Odin and Frigg. I mean, they're just sort of one and the same. Next month we're working with Pachamama. Pachamama. I'll talk more about that in at the end of the session tonight. So Capricorn energy is male, and it's paternal, and it's heavy, and it's I know what's right, and it's if you're not going to help me succeed, get out of the way. That's Capricorn situation energy right now. And to that, Leo says, okay, it's really true. I mean, I don't. And my dear Ray, who runs my marketing and social media world at Sage Goddess, has a Capricorn moon. It's been good old times for her the last 2 days. I have been like not able to sleep, just I've been having dreams about every man in my life and conflict with them. So interesting. I mean, men that I haven't like seen or thought about, like, you know, old father figures or like uncles, and just it's like, what is happening right now? But Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Yeah. And Saturn, do you know what happens at 29 and at 59 and 89 years old? Do you know about this? If you're 29, 59, or 89, life really sucks for you right now. And all I can say is hold on. Did you know that more people commit suicide at 29, 59, and 89 than any other ages? Wonderful. It's true. It's true. But you know what? I used to not understand why. I took psychology classes when I was in teacher training, and they used to talk about suicide rates by age. Okay, because it's just suicidal impulses are a very real thing, and you have to manage them, especially as a teacher, especially for me being a university professor. I engaged people that age. So they did a lot of training for us about how to recognize signs and symptoms of suicidal impulses, which I've never understood because I'm a Leo, and we would never commit suicide. We'd feel far too sorry for the world to lose us, right? Kind of thing. But there are people who think about that. So I'm very sensitive to it because it's a very real thing. I mean, hormonal and chemical imbalances are a very real thing, and I've had people in my own family with suicidal impulses. So I'm very sensitive to it. But I noticed in all the literature, it's like 29, 29, 29, 29. All the nines, but mostly 29 and 59 are the ages when people have these like really intense impulses. Saturn returns to the position it was when you were born between 27 and 30, and again between 57 and 60, and again between 87 and 90. Okay, and Saturn is the planet of life lessons and hard knocks. Okay, so Saturn is going to bring up all your crap, and here's what it does at 29. Ready? Saturn goes, you know what? You're not doing so well. Look at all your friends. They're all married or not married. They all have children or no children. They all have great jobs or whatever. All the things that you don't have is what all your friends have. Look at them. Just look at them. I mean, that's really what Saturn does, and you start going, yeah. I should get a divorce and go live in Peru. This is like a very extreme example, and I'm using this time to tell you this because this is kind of what Capricorn feels like. Capricorn feels like you're not doing a very good job. You know what? I wish you'd tried harder. And so around the moon, it impacts our emotions. Like, you're not being a great partner kind of thing. It's like, and again, what does Leo say to that? I don't have much to say about that. Because Leo's like, I'm doing a great job. According to me, I am doing a magnificent job. But if you're somebody who really needs external affirmation, this week's probably been really, really hard. The good news is it's not going to last much longer. It'll go to another sign. But if you live with a Capricorn, Now they're probably having a great time. So I share all that with you. But anyway, this full moon has been a real ass kicker. I apologize for it on behalf of the universe. It'll be over soon. And so we are going to face that with a deep conversation tonight about Frigg. So tonight's full moon is really about this incredible goddess from the Norse pantheon. If you are like me, I don't watch a lot of TV, by the way, I'm going to preface this, but if you are like me and you watched every minute of Vikings and didn't even go to the bathroom, okay, because God forbid Lagertha fight somebody while you're in the bathroom, okay, that would be like a real scary thing to me. If you are like me, you're obsessed kind of with Vikings and the Norse pantheon and this idea of the gods. There's this beautiful episode of Vikings where they go on this exodus to connect with the gods in their sacred place. And they go I think it was every 9 years. And that's actually true to history. And so if you're like me, and by the way, if you haven't seen it, I almost want to tell you to stop this recording right now and go to History Channel and just start. There was actually a woman who worked here who said she hadn't seen it. And I was like, listen, this sounds really weird. I kind of want to give you the day off tomorrow. I kind of just don't want you to come back till you've seen it, because it's hard to do Sage Goddess stuff without knowing some of these things, right? Anyway, Lindsay, who's on my team, understands we both have a minor obsession with with Ragnar. Fortunately, my husband has blue eyes, so I think our relationship will be fine. Will be fine. But anyway, oh, Allison says she feels bad for the Capricorns. I know, it's really true. But you know what? Capricorns are tough people. The good news is they're very successful. And you know what? Their success is our success. Capricorns go and build great companies, great organizations, great schools, great, everything great, because they're not going to let up until it's great. And so because of them, we have a lot of the beautiful things in our life. So let me say something nice. I'm trying. But anyway, so the Norse gods and goddesses are fascinating to me. And so the reason that I built 2 sets, for the first time I did a Frigg set and an Odin set, which really resonated with you, and I'm glad, is that you cannot, in some of the pantheons, you can separate Hera and Zeus, right? Hera was Zeus's wife. You can separate them and think about Zeus alone and Hera alone. And in fact, a lot of the things that you read about Zeus never mention Hera, because, women in the Greek pantheon are not as powerful as men, frankly. Not so in the Norse pantheon. Frigg and Freya, who are considered to be the wives of Odin, are considered to be his true equals. And one of the things I love as a deeply masculine woman, in my own way, I consider myself something of a shield maiden. One of the things that I love is that these are strong, powerful women. They are warrior spirits. And so if you need that energy, like if the universe is asking you to step up and grab your shield and go, and honestly, in the universe right now, I think the universe is asking that of a lot of us, by a little bit of a shit show politically that's happening and like other things that are happening. We're sort of being asked to step up and be strong and express our views and take up our shield and figure out how to use our voice. And interestingly, here's why I think the full moon in Capricorn tonight is timely, okay? Because I think that paternal energy, and keep in mind, Odin is the father of all fathers and the king of all kings. So take a moment to breathe that in. Do you know? I think the energy of the universe right now and of this full moon, which is very paternal, is asking you not only to, if you're a man, it's asking you to step fully into that energy and take up that role, which the paternal energy and the paternal role can be very nurturing and loving. And we need that. We need the divine masculine to be masculine. But for us as women, which is the primary proportion of my audience anyway, although we have a fair number of men, and even here in the room we have a good number tonight, I would tell you that you also need to take up the divine masculine. And Frigg and Freya do that beautifully. They are still, as every other goddess in the universe, considered to be, the keepers of fertility and healing, because that's what we think women do. We think women birth babies and make our colds go away. But what's beautiful about Frigg and Freya, but mostly Frigg, which is why I chose her over Freya, frankly, I had to pick one. What's beautiful about Frigg is that she is considered the keeper of destiny. And the way Frigg, if you saw my little live video I did today, the way Frigg thinks about destiny is a web. Like, think of a spider's web. And that there are all these little like bits and pieces and parts and portions, and you're in your web right now. And it's interesting, when I have journeyed, I have sort of pulled back the veil enough to see that web. And it's a real thing. Like, just beyond what you're able to touch when you reach your arm out, just beyond what you're able to touch is a web of energy. I think it's visible to us when we die. But you can sometimes, have you ever had moments like that when you're meditating, or like right when it's getting dark at night, or maybe when you like your eyes lose focus. Do you know what I'm talking about? Have you ever had those moments where like you see a little bit? Do you know? It's almost like little bubbles of light falling, or just, I mean, even it's just sort of happening to me right now, where like just things sort of pass in your vision. I think that's the web. Okay, and so it's there. And so she believed that was your destiny. And she believed, interestingly, that you could actually reweave parts of it. So part of it is your destiny, and it's the things that are going to happen to you. I believe you come into this life with a soul contract that you agreed to. And it might be what I like to call in my groups a shitty pickle. Sorry. But at some point you said yes to that shitty pickle. At some point you said yes. Now here's the thing. I think you can choose to amend. That's what Frigg would say. So I'm just holding space for that. I don't know what your thoughts are, but I want you to hold space for that. You may say, nope, destiny is destiny. I signed up. I'm here. I'm going to go for the ride. I can't do anything about it. Frigg would say, just for a moment, if you can visualize, and I'm going to take you there in meditation. If you can visualize and close your eyes and imagine the web of your life and all the people that are in that web. If you can imagine that you could re-architect parts of it, which might be your relationship to money, or it might be your relationship to your physical body and your well-being, or it might be your relationship to your weight, or it might be your relationship to your voice and your ability to speak your truth. It might be your relationship to your kids. It might be your relationship to, I mean, literally anything. Your relationship to your health prognosis, right? Like what happens when you get diagnosed with something really bad? All of a sudden to you, it's all black and white, right? Like this is what's going to happen to me. But what if, and this is the shamanic process too, what if you can reorient your relationship to that black and white diagnosis? Just because a doctor tells you something, it's like as soon as you step into those shoes and you just start walking and assume that those are your shoes, I almost think you agree. You know, it's like, what if you could reorient and reweave that part of the web? And I'm not promising anything dramatic, truly, but I'm just asking you, I'm inviting you, I guess, to look at your web and say, okay, this is my web. I got 2 kids, I'm married, I do this, whatever. What is serving me and what's not serving me? Like if I could reorient myself in some way, what would I choose? And now that I'm telling you that, I'm seeing all the little dots all the time. Hello, web. But what would you choose? And so tonight when we go into meditation, I'm going to have you connect with Frigg and see what she recommends for you. Because it's a 50-50, right? It's partly you saying, I think I need to reweave this. Maybe it's your relationship with your parents. Maybe it's your relationship with your children. I think I need to reweave this. But she might say you need to reweave this other thing. And then prioritize what you're going to reweave. Here's what I know for sure. The stones, the essential oils, all the things that I do are tools for that. They shift and shift and shift and shift and shift. And it's so subtle, you know, like where you would almost today, if you worked with a stone, you might say, well, I kind of feel something. And then all of a sudden, 5 years down the road, you know, it's like, it's, what do they call it? The chaos theory, you know, right? Because it's one minor shift today, one profound shift a year from now. And I think that's the way all of our sacred tools, which have their own vortices and energy fields, work. I've been talking a lot. If you have questions, put them in the feed. Does anybody in the room have questions before we start? Can you tell I'm passionate about all this? I hope you are too. I mean, it's just very interesting because a lot of depression, if you think about it, I was watching a Tony Robbins video, like a random Tony Robbins video where he was like helping somebody in his audience who was suicidal. And I was watching it thinking, that's another way into the conversation, what he was choosing to do, and obviously very effective for the person that he was helping. But I thought, you know, I like the idea almost more of empowering somebody to look at their life and say, this is the part of the web I'm struggling with. And sometimes therapy can help to mirror to you, like, I think this is the part of the web you're struggling with. But meditation and journey can be very helpful because it takes you out of your conscious mind long enough to be able to see that web without projecting onto it. Like maybe you always thought that your problem was with your parents, but it turns out what you need to reweave is this other thing. Does that make sense? Okay. Don't be jealous, folks, online. But everybody in the room got a free rune tonight. Sorry. If you were here, I'd give you a free rune, but you're not here. And everybody in the room got this, which I will happily post for you in a virtual form. It is all of the rune descriptions. Does anybody feel like they are not resonating with their rune? I'm just curious in the room. Everybody feel like you have a little bit of a connection to your rune? Okay, good. Or a huge connection to your rune, which is even better. Huh? Really? Yeah.
Mine is so relevant right now.
Oh, amen. I love that. So good. Okay. We need a rune over here. Lovely ladies. We have enough for you, so don't worry. Okay. So tonight we're working. You can choose to work with both your Frigg and your Odin tools. I'm going to focus on Frigg, but I'm going to talk to you about using your Odin tools. And I think actually using them in concert is very powerful. This is the Frigg candle we're working with. This is Frigg Perfume, which I hope you loved. The Odin perfume, honestly, I have to tell you, is one of my best. I don't know if you loved it. I like a masculine perfume, and Odin just sings to me a little bit. So in the room, I'm going to pass this around. I'll pass Odin to my right, and I'll pass Frigg to my left. Frigg is a little more spicy. It has cardamom. There's vanilla in it. Odin is a little more masculine. Neither of them is extremely feminine, but look, and we're talking about Frigg and Odin. We're not talking about Cinderella. And then when it comes to Odin, we're working with Numite and Merlinite. Do you know that Numite is the wizard stone? Yeah, this stone is big magic. If you're trying to work big magic in your life and you're trying to access the deeper mysteries, Numite. Numite is the business, okay? Merlinite's very special. It is also a magician stone. It is an incredibly powerful third eye stone. It just opens that pineal or pineal gland, however you choose to pronounce it, wide open. And then with Frigg, we're working with beautiful ruby zoisite. Some of the pieces have kyanite in them too, and we're working with selenite. Because Frigg, even though she's a shield maiden, she is, and look at my piece, has a huge heart on it. Bless you. We always have a cute sneezer in the room. God forbid I sneeze because it ain't cute. And they come in twos. My very tall, very Greek dad has this sneeze that like stops people's heartbeats in a room, and I inherited that. So I'm a very short woman. I'm like less than 5'2", but when I sneeze, I sound like a bear. And it happens 2 times. I'm so sorry in advance if I ever do it in front of you. Even my husband still after 15 years goes, oh my God. It's so not attractive. I always made sure I didn't sneeze until I'd been with like dating somebody for a little while, because it's sort of like whatever facade I was trying to keep up was like real gone after I sneezed. Okay, and then with Frigg, her beautiful herbs, there's myrtle and raspberry, and the third note in your herbs, I'm getting old, I gotta look at my notes. The third is elderberry, which is really good if you have a cough. This is an extremely healing blend. I recommend making a tea out of this unless you were pregnant. You will not. The raspberry, no, it's not so good. Unless that baby's real cooked and you want it out. You know, which I went through that with my dear Zoe. She didn't want to leave. And then the other thing with these herbs is that they bring huge fertility. So there's that. Let's just say I'm not drinking it. I'm all good on that front. Okay. Okay. Any questions online? Let me know. Otherwise, we're going to get started. The other thing I'm going to do tonight, if there's time, and it's like 6:25 already, so we're going to see how we go. Lamas, Lunasa, yeah, is August 1st, and I have a beautiful recommendation for a meditation for you if you'd like. It's a little idea to plant with you. I love these books by Llewellyn's. They're their little like high holiday books. They're like affordable. They're great. They've got great ritual suggestions, and you can collect the whole library. I'm not sure we have the Lunasa book in stock. We have the Lamas book, or the Litha book. Anyway, not recommending that you buy it from me. Just maybe go to Amazon if you're interested in ritual books. But there's a beautiful ritual in here, and I'll plant the seed for you because I'm not going to see you before Lamas. Lamas' first harvest on August 1st. Yeah. Okay, I will tell you on sagegoddess.com with code LUNA, which is easy to remember, everything ships free in the United States until midnight tomorrow, which is really good. So if you want ritual kits, if you want the Pachamama kit and those things, I highly recommend using the code because it can save a bunch of bucks. People in the room are like, I don't care because I'm just going to pick up my things. Lucky, 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 lucky. Okay, I'm going to smudge just a little. I already smudged the room like 3 or 4 times today because full moon, you have to do that. Especially when it's a full moon in Capricorn. If you're a Leo, you got to do the thing. I think Capricorns are really great, actually. If you have a Capricorn coworker, you're in luck. If you're trying to love them or have sex with them, it's a little trickier. I wouldn't know, but Okay, so just smudging a little bit, clearing off all the energies. Close your eyes. Clear off your own energy. One of the things you can do if you can't smudge is just visualize out of your hands and out of your feet, which is where energy gets released from you, by the way, from the top of your head. Visualize out of your hands and out of your feet any energy that doesn't belong to you. And visualize it leaving your body, out of your hands, out of your feet. And all you'd have to do is ask your guides, please send this energy back to its source. You don't have to know who it belongs to. You accumulate it all day, every day. And then what you can imagine, if you want to do the second half, is imagine all of your energy that has been sent out coming back to you in your hands and in your feet. So, and you can just ask your guides, please, guides, all of the energy that I've sent out into the universe that belongs to me, return it to me in my hands and my feet and fully integrate me, body, soul, and spirit. Okay? And what that does is it sends everybody's stuff back to them. You don't need to have it anyway. Did you know that really, I think 95% of the stuff that you feel right now that's stressing you out has nothing to do with you? Like 95%. If you really dealt with the 5% that's yours, you'd be happy all the time. But you're dealing with all the stuff that doesn't belong to you. And what happens, what people do with empaths is they know they can attach all their shit to us. So they do it. It's like putting Post-it notes, you know, like I'm going to stick that on you. I'm going to stick this other thing on you. And it's like just, sometimes I visualize like Post-its just, I'll have Post-its off of me, you know, those aren't my Post-its. And as an empath, I try not to stick my Post-its on anybody. I apologize if I've ever stuck a Post-it on you, because I certainly am not trying to do that. Okay. All right. So other things I want to tell you briefly before we begin our meditation. So just my notes. Frigg is the mother of Baldur. She's the wife of Odin. She reigns over a Norse magic called Seder. It's very interesting to me because that is a high holiday in the Jewish tradition. I don't know the connection. If you do, I'd love to know. But it's very interesting to me. And only in the Norse pantheon is there a firm belief that the mortal can change its own path. Because most people believe, even the Greeks believe, that fate and destiny are hard fast. Yeah, there's no changing that. There's one of the Greek fates who's, spins your thread, creates it. There's one of the Greek fates that measures your thread. Remember this? There's one of the Greek fates that cuts your thread. You can't talk to them and ask them to change it. No. What happened one time? Loki, who's one of the very interesting Norse gods, sort of a trickster god, very smart. If you watch Vikings, there's a character that's very much like Loki. Loki slandered Frigg, talked badly about her. And Freya came to Loki. I love this story so much. And Freya came to Loki and said, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And Loki was like, And she said, remember, she holds fate and destiny in her hands, and she doesn't always disclose. And so even Freya, in that moment with Loki, was in awe of Frigg and the fact that she held the web. And she didn't always disclose, what there was about the web. Her rune, Frigg's rune, is Uruz. Is it? That's the one you got? Uruz. Have you ever heard the word ruse in the English language? What is a ruse? Misdirection, a little bit of it's trickery, right? A little bit of a trickery. That's because Frigg could shapeshift. So technically it means great ox, uruz, great ox. But really what it means is the ability to shapeshift from person to animal back to person to animal, because Frigg could do that. So I love the fact that rune is actually the root word of an English word that we use all the time. Where does ruse come from? From uruz. Isn't that interesting? Okay. It also means manifestation. So if you got uruz, it means that you have the ability to shapeshift and create whatever you want to create in your life because you have that power. Who got uruz in the room? That's a powerful rune. Okay, so congratulations. Her other rune is Kanaz. And Kanaz, if you know, we've been working with Kanaz, the sage goddess, is about creation. Okay. So with that, we have smudged. I'm going to invite you just to roll your shoulders back, get very, very comfortable. You can put your hands on your knees with your palms facing up for me. And I want you to imagine, as we always do, that out of your left hand extends a beautiful white beam of light. That beam of light is about 4 to 6 inches in diameter. Let it just sit in your hand for a moment. Feel your hand get warm to it. And that white beam of light extends out of your left hand and into the right hand of the person who's seated next to you in our circle. And that beam of light will enter that person's right hand, move through their energy centers out of their left hand into the right hand of the person seated next to them. And in that way, the energy moves around the circle in a clockwise direction. And I want you to track that beam of light as it goes all the way around the room here in our building, going all the way around really the globe as we connect across oceans and continents and time together tonight. So thankful that you're here with me. Very, very grateful for you. And when that energy comes back to you, it'll come back in your right hand. And when it does, you will be holding the energy, the essence of this connection between all of us who are gathered together tonight. You'll be holding that connection in your hands. And feel the warmth. That's just energy. And let that energy of our circle just come up and through your right arm and into your energy centers. Let it just bathe you. And the connection is so, so good. Your body drinks energy like water when you're thirsty. Your body wants, craves this. And so give yourself the next half hour. Don't think about what's outside the room or outside of wherever you are. Just be in this moment for right now. And with that, our beautiful circle is open. So good. I'm going to read our invocation, our calling to the directions before we begin. So on this evening, we gather together. We seek the wisdom of the elders and the ancients, the guides, the ancestors. And humbly in your great presence, we seek the knowledge that we are ready to integrate. For now is the time. We are promised no tomorrows. And so this is the hour of magic. And now is the moment of possibility. Great gatekeepers of the four directions, we thank you for turning your gaze toward us this evening. We honor your sacred presence and thank you for your presence, for you are welcome here. I began with a call to the direction of east. This is element of air, and for you if you're Libra, Aquarius, or Gemini. Air, move us and guide us toward the golden dawn of new possibility where our souls take flight and our wings expand and every cell of our bodies aligns with infinite potential. Here is where we manifest our soul's true calling. Here in the East, we rise to meet a greater purpose, a louder calling, a deeper understanding, and we ascend without fear, knowing that our wings are very, very strong. Winds of the East, air elementals, guardian spirits, and all who reside in this quadrant of the circle, hear our prayer tonight for safe new beginnings. Our next call to the direction of South, element of fire, and you if you're Aries, Leo, or Sagittarius. Fire, move us and guide us toward the release of anything we no longer need. Allow us to burn clean through the old beliefs, the fears, hesitations, anxieties, challenges, and reveal a new face of our future, one in which we find and embrace our full power. Here in the South, we let everything be transformed, transmuted, cleaned, and cleared away. Nothing is ours forever, and the clarity that comes from destruction is the greatest gift we are given once we let the fear go. What is burned away was never ours to have in the first place. Fires of the South, fire elementals, guardian spirits, and all who reside in this quadrant of the Great Circle, hear our prayer for clearing and help us receive the new and shed the old with grace tonight. To the direction of West, element of water, and you if you're a Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio. Water, move us and flow with us toward a complete reconnection with all of our emotions, the love, the rage, the peace, the anger, the passion, the fury. Teach us to allow everything, resisting nothing, flowing downstream, much like your fish and your sea creatures. Show us the way. Here in the West, we are in a state of non-resistance to growth, and all that we released in the South washes away with your waves and tides. We watch it all flow away from us, knowing that in its place, our greatest dreams and joys are already flowing toward us. And we know that hope rests in your deepest waters. Waves of the South, water elementals, guardian spirits, all who reside in this quadrant of the circle, hear our prayer for deep emotional healing tonight and help us allow what must come and what must go with no resistance based in fear. I call to the direction of North, element of Earth, Virgo, Capricorn, and Taurus. Earth, ground us and catch us in your deep, deep roots, embracing us in your tree limbs, nurturing us in your mossy womb, connecting us with all that has ever been. Here where you are, we will one day return, bone to bone, dust to dust. You await our return. Here in the north, we know we are safe, loved, held, nurtured, and part of a much larger matrix of energy that surpasses all mortal understanding. We are part of your great web, Gaia, and we surrender to the path that you carved for us through the dark of the forest. Let us take rest in your sanctuary, for in the north, all knowledge of all time is available to us. Trees of the north, earth elementals, guardian spirits, all who reside in this quadrant of the sacred circle, help us to rest. Remind us how small we are, how vast you are, and how many blessings exist in the space that resides between us. My wish for you, dear ones, tonight, as it always is and has been for years, is that the delicate and precious balance of these four elements will make itself known to you now and always. And so together we say, Amen, aho, so it is. Amen, aho, so it is. That felt really good. Yeah. It's really important. People ask me sometimes, why do you do that? It's not just that you're ticking off a list, right? The gateways have real guardians. And it's not a pagan thing. It's not a Native American thing, although they both recognize it. It's an energy thing. And if you've ever worked closely with water or closely with earth or closely with air, you know that they're just spirits and beings who reside in those places. And it's important to say, you are welcome here. Okay. So calling you back to that receptive position, just getting very comfortable. Roll your shoulders back. Deep breath in. Release the air. I want you to keep your eyes closed, your seeing eyes. But I want you to open your third eye. And what that means is I want you to imagine that with your eyes closed, letting everything go black for just a moment, I want you to imagine that between your eyes is a screen, almost like a theater screen, and let it go really, really dark for right now, like as black as you can imagine it. And then I want you to let your eyes relax, let your vision just soften a little bit. And then stop trying so hard to make it black and let it become what it needs to be for you tonight, this screen that you have. The more you practice this, the more you're going to be able to see, but you've got to spend time here. I want you to soften, soften, soften the vision. Try not to blink, which will help. Just bringing your full attention from anywhere it is in your body right now completely to this screen that's between your eyes. And when you do that, you come closer to being able to see this web I was talking about earlier. In reality, if you could cross the matrix, and those of you who've journeyed and done ayahuasca, you've already done that, so you know what I'm talking about. When you get to see that matrix, it looks like the flower of life. It looks like little tiny interlocking, beautiful, sacred geometric shapes. So if you've seen it, I don't have to tell you what it looks like. But if you haven't seen it, you have to sort of go for the ride with me for a minute. But I want you to start to notice maybe little pinpoints. It might look like that for you. It might look like little flowers and petals and shapes. But start to notice a fine pattern emerging on that screen in your mind. And really envelop your whole vision here. Maybe it's in your peripheral vision you see it better. Maybe it's when your eyes are facing forward you see it better. But just like sort of roll your eyes around a little bit and really inhabit that screen. And Frigg, we call upon you this evening. We honor and welcome you into this circle. Great Queen of Heaven in the Norse pantheon. And we invite you to make that web visible for us, as we know this is your domain. And take us into this place of deeper magic, where everything is known and revealed, whatever we need to know and see in imperfect time. And Frigg, we ask that you illuminate this web for us more clearly now. Take whatever that that fuzzy vision that we're having and sharpen it for us, clarify it, show us the intricate points and connections and details of this web, the people in our web, the experiences, the feelings in our web, the places we'll go and have gone. Past, present, future is in this web. Soften, soften, soften your vision. And Frigg, as we bring our full attention to this web that you're illuminating for us, and maybe you'll illuminate it with color, maybe you'll illuminate it with texture, in whatever way we need to see it tonight. Speak to us in this moment, Frigg, about what part of our web needs to be rewoven now. What part of our destiny is not so destined? What places or spaces in our life can we imagine a reconnection? And for each person in this circle, let it be one clear place for this evening that you show them. Whether it's health or love or work or relationship or fertility or whatever it might be. Where does the calibration need to happen? Where does the reweaving and the reconnection need to take place? And allow your attention then to go, and don't direct it. Just follow where your attention goes now. It might go to a person or a place. And Frigg, as you show us this place of reconnection and reweaving, help us to understand, give us more wisdom and information. What is it about this place or part of our lives that needs to be rewoven, and why? So that we can be aware. And you can ask in this place for a sign. If it's physical for you, ask to be shown what part of your body needs to be rewoven, re-architected, reorganized on a cellular level. My sense for the group is for some people it's in the heart space, which might mean reweaving a relationship. And notice now too, where you have resistance. So if something's coming up and you're resisting it, what is that? Like check in around whether you feel really receptive and open to this reweaving, or whether this is something that you have a reactive instinct toward. What is that about? And ask for clarity there. And really take a moment. One thing about Frigg is she's only going to show you if you're open. So if you start to have resistance and shut down, open back up and allow that information, that wisdom to come through. And Frigg, we thank you for the blessing of this wisdom and this information. And so for the final part of our meditation, I want you to allow information to come about how to reweave. Is it something you need to do? Is it a different way that you need to think? Is it a different way you need to feel? Is it not none of that? For many of you, it might just be allowing the reweaving to happen. And from this space, you can give Frigg permission to come in and work on your behalf, which is a beautiful thing, just quietly to say, Frigg, I allow you to come in and reweave this part of my life on my behalf. So before we're done, I would love for you to ask for a sign from Frigg. She's also the giver of signs and symbols. And so you can ask from this place for a sign, whether it's a rune symbol or just a shape or a color. Maybe it's a scent or a texture. Maybe it's a stone that you're supposed to be working with. What symbols can you offer us, Frigg, to represent and hold the space for this transition? You can also ask specific questions like, how long will this take? Is this to happen now? Whatever you need to ask to get clear about this reweaving, this is the time and this is the space. And for some of you, I can feel it, like it's happening now. I don't know if you're experiencing that, but I really feel like quite a few people are just sort of being rewoven in this moment, and just give permission. If that's what needs to happen, a lot of energy work happens so spontaneously. It's like you're waiting for it, but it's already happening. Just allow all of that to move and shift in your system. And if you find yourself, this is a helpful tip, if you find yourself thinking too much in a space like this, invite your talking mind to sit to the right of you. Okay? Just, you're welcome here, talking mind, but I need you to sit over here for a minute, just to create space and alignment down your energy centers to receive. So helpful. I mean, literally that energy can just move to the right. So before we close and we release Frigg from the space, I would like you to offer gestures of gratitude, whether it's just a bow to her, the actual saying of thank you, or just quietly in your mind. Frigg is one of the more challenging goddesses to approach in the pantheons that we're studying this year. She comes only when bidden. So we give great thanks to this powerful figure from history and from source for being present to us tonight. Frigg, in this moment too, it's really good to ask Frigg for strength to arm you. You know, if reweaving is going to require some changes and it seems challenging to you, ask Frigg for strength. She's much like Athena. She can lend you her shield, and so she can come in and strengthen and give you great resolve as you move through these changes in your life. Now I want you to return to that screen. And interestingly, for a lot of you, that you'll see it more clearly now, do you? A little bit of that web, having gone through this process. A lot of times it'll just be instantly when you bring your attention back to that screen, all of a sudden it's like, wow, I see much more now than I did, 10 minutes ago. So bring your attention fully back to the little dots and points, and it might look like specific shapes, and it might look like just kind of polka dots or modeled spots, but you're seeing the web. And then just very gently, as and when you're ready, you can begin to wiggle your fingers and toes, bringing your attention back to this moment, back to the room you're in. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You know what's really funny is I'm realizing I didn't even light my candle. I was so like in the moment, completely focused. So I'm going to light my candle now before we release Frigg fully from the space. Her energy is very intense for me, sort of takes me out of my... Does anybody need a lighter? We're going to say one final invocation for Frigg before we're done. If you have the stones for her, I'd like you to hold one in each hand. The selenite is going to connect you to the full moon energy that we're channeling with her. The ruby zoisite is going to connect you to the love, to your heart space, which is ultimately where all these changes begin anyway. This is also a stone of healing and of shifting energies. So that's why this one is here for her energy. So once your candle's lit, hold your stones in both hands. When you hold stones in both hands, you create a triangle. Have you noticed that? Between your third eye and the two stones. That's why it's really powerful always to meditate with pairs. So I want you to imagine this triangle between that screen of that web that you just connected to tonight and these stones, which are about connection to this full moon energy, to this lunar source, and to this energy of love and healing and shifting and compassion. And so, Frigg, we ask for your blessings upon this work that we're doing that's begun tonight. And for many of us, it may already have happened. It doesn't take long. But if the shift and if the reweaving extends far beyond this evening, we ask for your continued blessing. And I ask personally for everyone in this circle to experience this healing, this allowing, this receiving, without fear, without resistance, just completely allowing body, mind, and soul to receive tonight. And may these stones be charged to hold the energy of this experience. So every time you work with these stones, you are allowing that reweaving to continue to unfold. And what's being rewoven now may need to be revisited next year or in 5 years. It may be that what's rewoven now is finished, but you have other reweaving to do. You're just not ready yet. So this is not the end. This is just sort of a continuation, if that makes sense. Now I want you to imagine turning that screen back completely black, releasing that web to go back, to recede from you. It never leaves you. That web is always there. I was telling the group before we started is that web is just beyond, however far you can extend your hand, it's like inches beyond that. And I think what happens when we die, having had a near-death experience, I think what happens when we die is instantly it's there, you know, and you feel it and you sense it and you touch it and your ancestors are all there, but we can't see it, you know. And I think it's partly because we have to live out these soul contracts. And it would be much harder if we knew all the things, you know? It'd be much harder. And so with that, I'm going to blow out my candle. You can blow yours out too. Releasing Frigg from the space with gratitude. And keep your candle. Let this be, you could even make a reweaving altar. You could work with other people as long as you have their permission to do reweaving with them and for them as a healer. It should be very powerful too. So good. So good. That's true. The body dies, but the energy does not. That sure is the truth. For sure, for sure, for sure. Okay. How are you doing? Yeah? Some of you are back, some are not. That's totally fine. Don't you wish you could just sort of like languish here for a little while? This may be a meditation that you choose to come back to. Do you know what I mean? It's like some of them you kind of like it's over and out and you've done the work and now you can move on. This reweaving one may be one that you choose to revisit maybe at the high holidays, maybe once a quarter, or maybe once a year, just to come back and check in. Like, hey, Frigg, how am I doing? You know what I mean? Like, have I uncovered it? Is there anything else that you need to help? Jade says my divorce is my reweaving. Well, hello to that. Divorce is nothing if not a great weaving. So I wish you many blessings as you do that. Okay. So I want you to come back to that to that receptive position with your palms facing up. So when the energy of the circle came to you in your right hand, you were holding it there, it came to you clockwise, you're going to release that energy out of your right hand counterclockwise. It's going to spin and unwind back around the circle. Releasing, releasing, just track it with your mind's eye. Just giving thanks, so much gratitude for the energy, for the people, for everybody here in the room, and all of you who are online. So grateful for our community. It's amazing that with all the people in the space, we've created something of a beautiful family together. So I'm thankful for you and for your presence. And when that energy comes back to you in your left hand, it's all unwound. I want you to turn your hand upside down and imagine sending that energy right into the center of the earth. We do that to ground the energy out. The earth knows what to do with that energy. And energy is never created and it's not destroyed, just like the soul never dies, right? So we send that energy down into the center of the earth and we release it there. I do believe the energy that gets raised in ritual gets sent back out into the universe to be used, like food or like fuel. And I think the universe knows exactly where and how to send it. It's a beautiful thing, but you don't want to hold it in your body. We empaths hold too much anyway. So give the earth all the energy that you can't hold. You don't need to store. And with that, as we release the circle, we release the great guardians, the north, the guardians, the elemental spirits there. We release you and thank you for the wisdom you shared in the circle tonight. To the west, we release the water elementals. Thank you for allowing us to get in touch with those deeper emotions that need healing and reweaving. Guardians of the south, we thank you for the courage to do the sacred work. Guardians of the east, we thank you for this new beginning, which could be a new beginning for your health. It could be a new beginning for your relationship, whatever's being rewoven. While it may feel like a door is closing and that's heavy and scary, it's also a new beginning for you. Do you know? You have to look at it that way. Oh, that's so beautiful. Sky Silverhawk says that she's been away from rituals for 2 years, and she said, I make it feel like she's never left. So good. Time's not linear, so I'm glad to have you back. And for those of you who are new, both in the room and online, I'm so grateful to have you here. Hopefully you felt right at ease and very loved and seen and held tonight in our space. So namaste and thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, everybody. So I have like 4 things to tell you real quick. You ready? Ready, go. If you were to Sage Goddess, what you would hear all the time is ready, go. We say it to each other all the time. Okay. August 1st is Lammas, and I'm not going to see you before then. I will tell you this. I have a private class. I don't mention it very often because I'm not really, not really one who wants to sell that class. You don't need to join it. But it's called the Magical Sabbatical. And so I connect with that group a little more closely and more often than I do with the public groups. If you would like to do private ritual with me and really celebrate the high holidays privately in a small group, Magical Sabbatical might be really good for you. So you might go to sagegoddess.com/register and you can find out more about that. We are having a private Lammas ritual in Magical Sabbatical on August 1st. So there won't be anything public, but I wanted to give you an idea for what's something that you could do if you want to celebrate, since I won't see you until later in August. So this is called a gratitude meditation. Okay. And it says, Lammas is a fitting time for a gratitude meditation. Take this opportunity to reflect on all the blessings in your life. Find a quiet space, preferably outdoors. Close your eyes and let your thoughts settle. And this is where it gets really beautiful. Imagine yourself surrounded by a field of ripened fruits, vegetables, and grains. How do you feel when you are surrounded by bounty? Is that a beautiful question? Like, it just sends little shivers all down my spine. How do you feel when you are surrounded by bounty? Look to the edges of the field. Do you see or sense any images of other things in your life for which you are grateful? Are there friends with you or family? Are there fortunate circumstances that have occurred for you recently? And here's the best question of them all. Are you ready? Do you have any messages that you wish to convey to this field of dreams? Not what it's going to tell you, but what you're going to tell it. Okay? So good. Express your feelings of gratitude aloud. and project your thoughts and emotions outward into the visualized space. You might even imagine, I love this, you might even imagine yourself giving gifts to each person or circumstance that occurs in your vision of the field of dreams. I'm telling you, abundance begins with gratitude. You give, you receive. In meditation one time, people think I'm crazy because I give away so many stones. You know that I give away about $1,000 worth of gemstones a month. I do, no joke, like just freely. I expect nothing in return. And somebody said, why do you do that? You're crazy, right? I mean, people say that all the time. You're crazy. Why do you do that? Nobody else does that. And I was in meditation one time, and the message that came to me was, as long as you give like it's nothing, you will receive like it's nothing. Interesting concept. Because I was like, what do I tell people who think I'm crazy? I don't do it with the expectation of receiving, but I'm just going to leave the idea with you. If in your life you hold on to everything all the time and you never give anything, and then you're like, why don't I get anything? What are you expecting? If you give like it's everything, you're going to receive like it's everything. Do you know what I mean? Anyway. Plus, you can't take it with you. One of my favorite quotes is, you're not getting out of this alive. Yeah. And unless you plan to have a huge coffin just full of stones. Which, look, I mean, I'm very Liberace that way. I may choose to do that. Okay. When you're done, open your eyes, take a slow, deep breath, and recenter a normal state of wakeful consciousness. Spend time reflecting on your experience. You should write or journal about what happened. You may even consider painting a picture of your visions and your emotions. Unless you're me, that would be a really bad idea, because I'm a bad artist. Okay. These are the other things I have to tell you very quickly. You should, because now I'm going to be doing these live streams on Facebook all the time. And there's going to be giveaways and all kinds of things. I have hit the Facebook friend limit. Please don't be offended if you try to friend me and I can't add you. I can't do that. But if you go to facebook.com/Paracas, which is my last name, and Ray will put it in the feed, 2 R's, you can follow me and you will get all the live streams. They'll show up in your feed. So if you want to be part of that fun, that's going to happen that way. We are having a 5-year celebration with Sage Goddess for, I think it's Saturday through Monday. And so you can look forward to some really fun, interesting things. There are going to be giveaways online and all kinds of fun things. So stay tuned to Facebook for that. And then the last thing I want to tell you is Pachamama. It's not the most gorgeous. Lillian on my team designed that art. It's not the most beautiful Pachamama. It's like, how do you do credit to Pachamama? Pachamama is Gaia in the South American pantheon. Okay, so she is the goddess of the earth. For me, what Pachamama is, having done Pachamama ceremony, where you create what's called a despacho, which is an offering to the earth. Has anybody done a despacho honoring Pachamama? We're going to talk about that next month, and I'm going to have you do something of a despacho here in the room, and I'm going to give you guidance in the event group next month about how to do a despacho on your own at home. So it's going to be a lot of teaching next month. Pachamama is about really grounding you and taking you into that South American pantheon where there's very deep magic. I'm going to drum for you next month. I haven't drummed for you in a long time. It's going to be really, really good. Pachamama, Pachamama, Pachamama. Somebody said say it 3 times. You got to be careful what you say 3 times. When I was being trained as a high priestess, I was taught a lot about invocation of things when you say things 3 times. So you have to be careful. But I don't mind invoking Pachamama. Pachamama perfume. Are you ready? Pachamama perfume is crazy, crazy, crazy. It took so long to make Pachamama perfume. Pachamama perfume has notes of caramel and dark chocolate, cacao, essential oil, okay? It has mango, it has papaya, it has sandalwood, it has cedar. It's like the jungle. It has spices like cardamom and clove, and there's nectarine and blood orange. It's all the things. It might drive you a little crazy. I'm sorry in advance, because it's schizophrenic. It doesn't know what it is right now, but all those things had to be in it. And I was very clear about that, so that's all in there too. Anyway, if you use code Luna, your set ships for free, but only for the next 48 hours. So if you go to sagegoddess.com, you can grab Pachamama. I think we have about 5 dozen of them left. The herbs in there, by the way, this is my best herbal tin yet. Are you ready? It has cinquefoil for prosperity, walnut, and tobacco, ceremonial tobacco. Honestly, this is probably the reason to get this kit, is all the ceremonial tobacco in here. I'm going to teach you how to make a despacho using this as your offering next month. Are you excited? I hope you're excited. This may be one of our best rituals yet, coming up in August. It's my birthday month, so we got to do all the things. All right, everybody. Get your stones out under the full moon. Celebrate Lammas. Don't overlook it. Put it on your calendar. August 1st. It's the first harvest. Give thanks for all the beautiful things that are in your life. And thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed Google Hangout, by the way. It's our new venue. I kind of love it. I was saying last night, it's so clear you can see my pimples, which is so great. You know, I'm just kidding, but it is very, very clear. Thank you for being here. I will see you next month, everybody. Take care. You're welcome. And then